All right, welcome back to the day 12 of the NBA, day 11 to 12, whatever, of the NBA playoff recap and my thoughts, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so first game that was on was Celtics Raptors, game one, and the Celtics really had control of this game from the beginning. Raptors early on they were shooting really bad, 14.3% from the floor. Um, I mean, you want to take some good thoughts from a Raptors perspective. Baca played well. I mean, it wasn't really good. It didn't help that as the game went on, going into the first quarter, Siakam had the three or two fouls going into foul trouble. And the Raptors had 6 turnovers, which does not really bode well. All those things don't really bode well for success for the Raptors. Celtics shot really well from the floor. They shot 61.5% from the floor, from the field in the first quarter, and 65% from three. I mean, this really was the Celtics game from the beginning. The Raptors, they made some adjustments. They tried so many defenses from the game. I have, it was actually a tweet. I forget the reporter, so I'm not going to try to false. But the amount of defense they tried man-to-man, switch, and non-switching. So switching on pick and rolls and not switching on pick and rolls. They did blitzing pick and roll. They did 2-3 zone. They did 2-2-1 zone and a half court trap. That was a lot of defense. So I mean, you can't really. I mean, they tried everything, didn't really work. Look, I think one of the concerns here is, first of all, I want to say Raptors historically have been very bad game one. Historically, like just in this decade, and the team, like they've just been like this team. Kyle Lowry has been horrible in game ones and like all that stuff. So I would say that really isn't a figure to like bounce on because that's kind of like weird. That's something like you see, but like I don't really have an explanation for it, so I don't really want to use it as I don't really want to use it like as a stat. Like I don't really like, but it's just like that's just happened over like with this like type of team with Kyle Lowry and all that stuff, and I've already said that. But yeah, the thing I would have a concern about, the way if you're looking at it negatively, is that maybe the Celtics are just a bad matchup for them. I mean, the regular season matchups, they weren't really. I mean, the regular season games, they weren't really good against them. They lost both of them, or they lost both of them. And I mean, Lowry wasn't in one of them, but it really is a cause for concern, I guess. I mean, it's really a cause. I would just look out for it. But yeah, I mean. I'm going to give you some stats right now. The game. Theus was really good. Even though he got into foul trouble early on in the game. He had like 2 fouls in the first quarter. I think like 5:06 in the first quarter. But he was able to overcome that. He had 13 points and 15 rebounds. Very well. Tatum, he was doing his thing. He had 21 points. Jaylen Brown at 17 and Kemba Walker at 18. And Robert Williams, one thing I want to point out, the center minutes for the Celtics is really a cause for concern because they don't really have a really reliable guy at center. You would say, okay, Enes Kanter, but defensively he's pretty bad, especially in the pick and roll. So you don't really know who you're going to have at center or backup center. Theus is your main center, but backup center is what I mean. So Robert Williams, he kind of filled that hole today with 18 minutes. Samuel J played a little bit of center, and Grant Williams played a little bit of center. But yeah, if Robert Williams continue, it'd be really good for the Celtics because they kind of need a backup center right now, and that's their big concern as a title contender is that they don't really have that. Obviously, they don't have like the top 5 talent in the league, but the big concern is that their big man isn't really that solid. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Celtics Raptors. Next game I want to go to is the Clippers Mavericks, and look, the Mavericks gave a great run. And maybe with Porzingis is a different series. Maybe this goes to Game 7. But the Clippers were just too much. The Mavericks actually were kind of tight in this game. They were only down by 5 at halftime. And then they missed like 9 threes in the first 3 minutes of the game. Of the second half. And they were kind of getting, when this game got close to crunch time, they were kind of making a comeback. And then they couldn't just stop Kawhi. He would just get to a spot in the mid-range. And that would be kind of it. for the Mavericks season. They played really hard. Luka had 38 for them. He was very tremendous this whole offseason. He's playing off an ankle. I mean, the fact that they got it to a game 6 with, I think it's like a twisted ankle or whatever, and Porzingis is out. Porzingis was out for he was only in for 2 of these games. I thought it was really impressive what Luka did this year. It's really bright for the future for the Mavericks. And the Clippers, they move on to the next one. They're going to play the Nuggets Jazz, whoever wins Game 7. And that's actually where I'm going to go to next. We're going to talk about Game 6, Nuggets versus Jazz. This one was pretty good. Jamal Murray had 50 points tonight. He's really unstoppable. Jamal Murray is unstoppable. Donovan Mitchell, he had 44. They continue to battle. It's been a battle between them two in this series. Both of them at least have had 30 points each game this series. It's been really fun to watch. It really does feel like the Jazz, as I said in a previous video, it really does feel like the Jazz kind of blew Game 5. And look, I'm not saying that they're not going to win Game 7, but if you blow a game in the playoffs, I mean, that's pretty bad because the playoffs, every team's really good in the playoffs. And look, it's not very good for the Jazz if you're a Jazz fan right now. And they don't have the momentum going into Game 7 because they had a 3-1 lead and they lost this game. And the Nuggets handily had this game throughout the series, throughout the game today. It was kind of tight at halftime. The Nuggets had a 5-point lead, if I'm not mistaken. But they kind of just took over. I mean, they didn't really take over, but they kind of had this one in the bag. They didn't really extend the lead a little bit, but they always have
It's going to be really exciting to see who wins Game 7. And honestly, I don't really give either team a shot of being the Clippers. I mean, I don't want to be all this Game 7 doesn't really matter. Because Game 7 is really exciting, but I mean, the Clippers are going to easily beat either of these teams. I mean, who's going to really guard Kawhi? I don't really see that for any team. Gary Harris, he returned tonight. He had, or Paul George. So I weirdly transitioned between thoughts there. Gary Harris, he returned tonight. He had something like 18 points, and he was plus 26. I want to say he was plus as I weirdly he was plus 16. He was plus 16, not 26. He's plus 16. I just want to get that right. So I mean, he did very well today in his return. It's tough for those guys to come back because, I mean, as Charles Barkley said, everyone else is in game shape and they've been playing for a month, and he's not been playing game time action for a while, and it's hard to simulate playoff basketball in the practice setting. So yeah, I mean, that's all I really got to say today. It's a good night of NBA basketball, and yeah, that's it. Tomorrow is actually the first game that's not first game where there was actually a game a couple days ago, but that was not on 1 o'clock. But yeah, there's no afternoon basketball today tomorrow, so I mean, yeah, that's all I got.